How about Zach? Let's do,
Yeah, Zach sounds interesting.
sounds good. Let's talk to Zach in Ohio. Zach, you're live with Eric and Jim. What would you like to talk about today?
Hey, Eric. Hey, Jim. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing all right. What's good, brother? What would you like to talk about?
So I have a little brother. He turned 8 in February. And recently I've started to notice that my family are sort of trying to feed that belief. They started, saying prayers at dinner more often, and they take him to church like once a month. And I'm a non-believer, as the screener probably showed you, and my apostasy is something that's like really important to me. I'm a member of the Satanic Temple, and I like to do a lot of epistemology stuff, and I really like Freedom from Religion, what they do.
Definitely.
And I was just wondering sort of what path is probably best as far as like intercepting that, or if it's like a Santa Claus thing where I should let it play out and tackle it later.
So I think first off, I've really got to put out there and make sure that we're on the same page here. That you ultimately, I think that the best conversation is going to be one that you have with a therapist who can take all of the different things that are going on with your family situation in particular and be able to plug that into a plan that's a little more tailored to you. So just so you know, we're not professionals. We're going to give you our lay
Right.
advice, but that will never take the place of professional help, and we definitely recommend that before calling us. But that said, now that that's kind of out of
The
the way.
disclaimer's on there, yeah.
Yeah, okay, you got the disclaimer. What I would be wary of is, you said it's your nephew?
It's my little brother.
Your little brother. Okay. What's your age? What's the age difference here?
I'm 18. He turned 8 in February.
Okay. It's going to take a lot of time. And I know that when I was 18, I was learning a whole lot. And I actually have the same difference between myself and one of my brothers. Being a big brother, you do have a lot of influence. And it doesn't all have to be now. What I recommend is you don't have to, be angry. You don't have to be shoving it down their throats. And more knowledge about things is better. Instead of intercepting, show them other religions. And it doesn't all have to be today. Over the next couple of years, if you continue to teach, to show, and reinforce each other, as you continue to reinforce good epistemic reasoning, he'll benefit from it in the long run. But what I see too often is people wanting to change everything right now, fix the problem right now. And if you do that, you run the risk of alienating yourself from your family. And that can be really rough. So I do seriously recommend taking your time on it.
Yeah, and don't focus so much on the arguments as giving him the tools to reason it out himself. Because he's still learning. And if you directly contradict him, you're gonna
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, if you directly contradict him, you're going to, of course, backfire it. So street epistemology techniques would probably be really, really good and far more gentle than you see even the street epistemologist do it, because you're dealing with an 8-year-old, attention spans, all the rest of it. But I would focus on giving him the tools and really, really gentle street epistemology. And keep in mind, I think street epistemology is very gentle in and of itself, but just taking it even slower and with more focus on him.
See, I actually disagree with a little bit of that, Jim.
Okay.
When I read a manual for creating atheists by Boghossian, it didn't have the gentle approach that I think Anthony Magnabosco brought to it. I think that there's so much injected by Anthony into that sweet, kind, approach, that I wouldn't say that it's inherently a part of street epistemology, but it's something that we've grown into.
Yes, I was not being as pedantic as I normally am. I would agree with that. The street epistemology is demonstrated by, I think it's Ty who does Let's Chat, Anthony Magnabosco for sure, and from a place of conversations, which is where they come from. And if you follow the manual, yeah, it's a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, follow the way of the YouTube, definitely. So yeah, I agree with you there, Eric.
But that said, hopefully that helps.
It does. I mean, it is something that I'm trying to, sort of wean him onto, like look at his surroundings and sort of make judgments from there. I guess for the biggest thing for me, it's probably just a matter of like fighting outside forces, because while I'm trying to teach logic to an 8-year-old, they can easily, point to the sky and just say, this is the way it is. And he listens to them because they're his parents.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is, by sheltering him, you are possibly setting him up to be taken in later. But by teaching him and growing and giving him good tools, he may not get there right now, but you definitely do give him the opportunity to apply those tools when you're not around.
Right. A big thing for me leaving the religion was just I felt kind of betrayed to a point, kind of like lied to. And it's something that I want to nip in the bud. I want to stop as soon as possible because I don't want him to feel that way too. But I understand that, him still learning and figuring things out, definitely he's not able to really, compare and contrast those two, modes of epistemology and sort of, take the one that makes more sense, or he's not equipped to handle complex stuff like that. Not
right now, but he will grow up. And you can't shelter him from the pains of this world. Not like that. I wish that you could. Actually, John Pelosi in the live chat had a perfect response. Each child is a hero's journey. You just help like Yoda.
Well said. Well said.
Don't prevent him from going on that journey, but teach and guide. Anyway. Hopefully that helps, man. We're going to move on to the next call, but be safe out there, all right?
You guys as well. I'm glad you guys were still able to do this.
We are incredibly lucky to have the amazing volunteers that we have. Thank you. Thank you for sticking around.
Hey. Keep safe. Love you guys.
Love you too. Oh, yay. All right.
Oh, there's a theist caller.
There is a theist caller, but before we take them, actually,